have the money coming in, then I think we need to find a way not to spend the money. And I would particularly ask that the members of the town council and the supervisor, I think actually some of the other department heads are also slated in the tentative budget for increases. And it just seems to me that if we could do that and not have a tax increase in terms of what people have to pay out, I would support it. I know everybody works hard. But I just don't, I think that if you continue to rehire people in departments, and so you have salary going out to other people, that increase in salary in police department or highway department, then there has to be a balancing somewhere so that people who are on fixed incomes, as we have a lot of here in Shandaken, don't have this kind of increase. So I didn't have enough time to spend with the budget after it went up to be able to offer more concrete suggestions than that. But I would just ask each of you to really go through the budget and try to bring it down so that if there's any tax increase at all, that it's small. So thank you. Also, I forgot to mention an event, another event in October, which is October 9th. The Maurice D. Hinchy Catskill Interpretive Center is having a gala, and it's will be at the Interpretive Center with the doors opening at 5. It's a fundraising event for the center, and so I think you can make a donation. I think the entry-level donation is suggested $20, and come and join the fund. And
we still have the 15th, right? And the 17th, there's something going on there, right?
Yes,
okay.
and we also have, continuing to have over the next week, the events from the Catskill Lark in the Park. And the website catskillslark.org has a listing of all those events. Their hikes, their educational offerings, and all kinds of activities associated with the Lark in the Park.
Any other comments and resolutions? That will move the town board resolutions.
Resolution 13916, resolution to pay all bills. Whereas the Department of Audit and Control requires town boards to sign and inspect all vouchers coming into the town for payment to number and total amounts from each fund. Therefore, be it resolved, the town board authorized the following vouchers paid. General, $23,584.47. Highway, $119,000, $240.73. Phoenicia Water, $3,054.38. Pine Hill Water, $780.10. Phoenicia Lights, $910.10. Chichester Lights, $139.10. Pine Hill Lights, $537.89, for a total of $148,260.77, and I move its adoption.
I'll second that.
Board Member DeScalani?
Yes.
Board Member Malloy?
Yes.
Board Member Storm?
Yes.
Supervisor Sanders?
Yes.
So just said, Cindy, I'll take this. This is that logging permit that's been persistent with our board for 3 months. We do have to do a short form, a seeker, part 2, in order to approve this permit. So I'll just go through the questions. Let me know if the board disagrees or agrees with the questions as they come. Will the proposed action create material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? No. Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of the use of land? No. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? No. Well, let me say no or small impact may occur. That's the box. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area or CEA? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? No. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No. Will the proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies? No. Public or private wastewater treatment utilities? No. Will the proposed action impair the quality of the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources, e.g. wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, and fauna? No. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? No. Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? No. It says check this box if we're all agreed, check this box if you have determined based on the information and analysis above and any supporting documentation that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse impact, environmental impacts. Would town board approve of that as a negative declaration on this?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'll move on to the resolution. Resolution 14016, resolution of the town board of the town of Shandaken approving a logging permit. Whereas the town board has received and reviewed a logging permit application for Balsam Glean LLC at the property located at 132 Crookshank Road, Big Indian, New York, 12410. And whereas the possible environmental impacts of the logging permit for Balsam Glean LLC have been considered by the town board, and said board determines a negative declaration under state environmental quality review. Whereas permitting is required to provide to the town a bond or certified bank check in the amount of $10,000 to be held by the town until completion of the job and highway superintendent's approval to release funds, which we have received. Therefore, be it resolved that the town board hereby approves said logging permit for Balsam Glean LLC as long as all legal requirements continue to be met, and move its adoption.
I'll second.
Board Member DeSclafani?
Yes.
Board Member Malloy?
Yes.
Board Member Storm?
Yes.
Supervisor Saleh?
Yes.
I'll take it.
Yeah, good.
Resolution 14116, resolution adopting tentative budget as preliminary budget. Whereas the town of Shandaken has prepared a 2017 tentative budget for review. Therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Shandaken hereby adopts the 2017 tentative budget as the 2017 preliminary budget for the town of Shandaken, and move its adoption.
Second.
DeSclafani, DeSclafani? Board Member DeSclafani?
Yes.
Board Member Malloy?
Yes.
Board Member Storm?
Yes.
Supervisor Saleh?
Yes.
Resolution 142-16, resolution setting public hearings and special meeting, whereas the town of Shandaken has business to attend to in a timely manner regarding certain activities relating to the town budget and the Pine Hill Water District, and whereas the town foresees the possible need of exceeding the New York State tax cap in its 2017 budget, and whereas the town of Shandaken, as the owner-operator of the Pine Hill Water District, has been requested by the superintendent to review and amend the chargeable rates in the Pine Hill Water District. Therefore be it resolved, the town of Shandaken, the Town of Shandaken Town Board does hereby call for a public hearing on the tax cap issue to be held at 6:30 p.m., followed by a public hearing on the Pine Hill water rates at 6:45 p.m., followed by a special town board meeting to address these issues at 7 p.m. on Thursday, October 13, 2016, at the Shandaken Town Hall, 7209 Route 28, Shandaken, New York, to hear all those in favor and against such actions. I move its adoption.
I'll second that.
Board Member DeSclafani?
Yeah.
Board Member Malloy?
Yes.
Board Member Storm?
Yes.
Supervisor Saleh?
Yes.
Resolution 14316, set public hearing on a 2017 preliminary town budget. Whereas a public hearing is held every year for the purpose of hearing all those in favor or against the adoption of the preliminary budget for the town of Shandaken as the annual budget. Therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Shandaken will meet and review the 2017 preliminary budget and hold a public hearing thereon at the Shandaken Town Hall on November 9, 2016 at 6:30 p.m., preceding our regular monthly meeting. And at such hearing, any person may be heard in favor or against the preliminary budget as compiled, or for or against any items therein contained. And I move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member DeSclafani?
Yes.
Board Member Malloy?
Yes.
Board Member Storm?
Yes.
Supervisor Saleh?
Yes. This one again, because we're looking to adopt a law, we're gonna have to do a full seeker. So because we're the applicant, we have to do the part 1 and part 2. So we'll do similar to the first. I'll ask the board if they agree or disagree. If you disagree, please just yell out. Project and sponsor information, Town of Shandaken Town Board. Name of the action is adoption of local law number 1 of 2016 flood prevention ordinance with firms and FIS. Project location is the Town of Shandaken. Brief description is revision of flood insurance rate maps, flood insurance study, and flood prevention ordinance. Should be flood damage prevention ordinance. We can't remember. Name of applicant or sponsor, Town of Shandaken Town Board. 7209 Route 28 P.O. Box 134, Shandaken, New York 12480. Does the proposed action only involve the legislative adoption of a plan, local law, ordinance, administrative rule, or regulation? Yes. If yes, attach a narrative description of the intent of the proposed action, which I have. And the environmental resources that may be affected in the municipality and proceed to part 2. So was that a yes?
Yes.
It's an administrative action. Which leads us to part 2. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulation? No. Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of the use of land? No. Will the proposed action impair the quality or quality of the existing community? No. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area, CEA? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? No. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No. Will the proposed action impact existing public-private water supplies? No. Public or private wastewater treatment utilities? No. Will the proposed action impair the quality or character, I did that twice now, the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources, e.g. wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, and fauna? No. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? No. Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? No. Lastly, in part 3, determination of significance, the adoption of local law number 1 of 2016, flood damage prevention ordinance, flood insurance rate maps, and flood insurance study as a revision of existing outdated materials. Revised materials provide more detailed description of potential 100-year flood levels, more accurate maps, and will help instill better resiliency for public and private property, as well as appropriate environmental protection for stream floodplains. So I will check the box if we've determined, based on the information and analysis above, and any supporting documentation, that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. Does the board agree?
We agree.
Yep.
I just caught what you were saying back there. So resolution 144-16, resolution of the town board of the town of Shandaken determining no adverse impacts on the environment for local law number 1 of 2016. Whereas the town board is looking to adopt town of Shandaken local law number 1 of 2016, revising the town's flood protection ordinance. Therefore, be it resolved that the town board has determined that the approval of town and Shandaken local law number 1 of 2016 will not have significant adverse impacts on the environment. And therefore, be it further resolved that the town board authorizes the supervisor to take any such further steps as might be necessary to discharge the board's responsibility as lead agency for this action, including but not limited to the issuance of a negative declaration consistent with this resolution, and move its adoption.
I'll second.
Board Member Discofani?
Yes.
Board Member Malloy?
Yes.
Board Member Swan?
Yes.
Supervisor Finley?
Yes. And I'll just finish this up. Resolution 145-16, resolution for adoption of flood ordinances, maps, and insurance study. Whereas the town of Shandaken Town has over the past several years been in review of new flood insurance rate maps and accompanying insurance study and model flood ordinances, firms, and accessory items. Provided by, you want to try this? Provided by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, and New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, New York State DEC. And whereas under federal guidelines, the town has been notified by FEMA to move ahead with adoption of the firms and accessory items. And whereas the adoption of the firms and accessory items must be completed by October 18, 2016 in order to avoid townwide termination of all flood insurance policies. And whereas the town on Tuesday, September 27, 2016, held a public hearing to receive comments on the firms and accessory items in accordance with state law. And whereas the town board has reviewed and revised the revised firms and accessory items, including local law number 1 of 2016, and has performed the necessary secret determining that the adoption of said items is a negative declaration. Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Shandaken Town Board does hereby formally adopt said firms and accessory items, including local law number 1 of 2016, and move its adoption.
I'll second that.
Board Member DeScalani?
Yes.
Board Member Malloy?
Yes.
Board Member Storms?
Yes.
Supervisor Stanley?
Yes. Just thinking back, that's like 6 years of work.
Resolution 14616, resolution authorizing town supervisor to apply for and enter grant contracts. Whereas the town of Shandaken has 2 upcoming projects totaling $130,000, which will be eligible for funding under the Stream Management Implementation Project SMIP grant monies from the Shandaken Watershed Stream Management Program, AWSMP. And whereas, if awarded, these grant monies will be provided to the town for the listed activities with no matching funds required from the town. And whereas the following projects are to be funded over the coming months. Consultant for Community Rating System Application, $15,000. Local Flood and Feasibility Analysis, Shandaken and Alvin, $115,000. Therefore, be resolved that the town board of the town of Shandaken hereby authorizes the town supervisor to apply for SMIP grant funding, and if fully awarded, allow him to enter into contract for these SMIP grants with AWSMP to implement these projects as soon as possible. And I move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member DeScalani?
Yes.
Board Member Malloy?
Yes.
Board Member Storms?
Yes.
Supervisor Stanley?
Yes.
Resolution 14716, authorizing supervisor to apply for New York State DOT Transportation Alternative Program funds for infrastructure in Pine Hill. Whereas the town of Shandaken is a municipal corporation whose area includes the hamlet of Pine Hill, New York, and whereas the hamlet of Pine Hill is currently undergoing a stormwater retrofit program grant provided through CWC to improve stormwater collection and conveyance, including road reclamation and curbing. And whereas the stormwater retrofit program does not provide for sidewalks or trail networks, and whereas the town of Shandaken hopes to go to construction under the stormwater retrofit program in 2017, and whereas the New York State DOT currently has announced the Transportation Alternative Program, TAP, which provide funds for sidewalks and trail networks for pedestrians and bicyclists, whereby the DOT provide 80% of the total costs associated with such project. And whereas the town of Shandaken Town Board recognizes the desire to complete both these projects in a coordinated and timely fashion. Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Shandaken Town Board does hereby authorize the town supervisor to apply for a TAP funding provided through the New York State Department of Transportation, and be it further resolved that any money is awarded to be applied for costs and fees associated with engineering services, permitting processes and approvals, legal assistance, materials, and labor for the reestablishment of sidewalks and trails throughout the hamlet of Pine Hill. And I move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member DeScalani?
Yes.
Board Member Malloy?
Yes.
Board Member Storms?
Yes.
Supervisor Stanley?
Yes.
Wow.
Strong, yes.
Boy, I tell you, with authority.
Do you have an idea of how much funding you will apply for?
It's gonna be about $700,000 is what we're looking at. Sorry, Rick. We're in resolutions.
Oh.
Resolution 148-16, resolution declaring the town of Shandaken as a climate-smart community. Whereas the town of Shandaken, hereinafter local government, believes that climate change poses a real and increasing threat to our local and global environments and is primarily due to the burning of fossil fuels. And whereas the effects of climate change will endanger our infrastructure, economy, and livelihoods, harm our farms, orchards, and ecological communities, including native fish and wildlife populations, spread invasive species and exotic diseases, reduce drinking water supplies and recreational opportunities, and pose health threats to our citizens. And whereas we believe that our response to climate change provides us with an unprecedented opportunity to save money and to build livable, energy-independent, and secure communities, vibrant innovation economies, healthy and safe schools, and resilient infrastructures. And whereas we believe the scale of greenhouse gas, GHG emissions, reductions required for climate stabilization will require sustained and substantial efforts. And whereas we believe that even if emissions were dramatically reduced today, communities would still be required to adapt to the effects of climate change for decades to come. Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Shandaken, in order to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and adapt to a changing climate, adopts the New York State Climate Smart Communities Pledge, which comprises the following 10 elements. 1, pledge to be a climate smart community. 2, set goals, inventory emissions, plan for climate action. 3, decrease community energy use. 4, increase community use of renewable energy. 5, realize benefits of recycling and other climate smart solid waste management practices. 6, reduce greenhouse gas emissions through use of climate smart land use tools. 7, enhance community resilience and prepare for the effects of climate change. 8, support development of a green innovation economy. 9, inform and inspire the public. 10, commit to an evolving process of climate action. And I move its adoption.
I'll second.
Board Member DeScalani?
Yes.
Board Member Malloy?
Yes.
Board Member Storm?
Yes.
Supervisor Sam?
Yes.
Would this have anything to do with helping us out with the credit flooding?
I don't think you get, that doesn't do with CRS, right? No, it's a separate thing unto itself.
Right.
But there are some grant monies associated with it.
Yes.
Resolution 14916, Assessment Board of Review Appointment. Whereas under Section 20 of the town law, the town board shall designate all appointed officers and employees of the town. Therefore, it be resolved that Eric Greaser be and hereby is reappointed to the Assessment Board of Review and serve as such without compensation until the end of his term ending September 30th, 2021. And I move its adoption.
Second.
Second.
Board Member DeScalani?
Yes.
Board Member Malloy?
Yes.
Board Member Storm?
Yes.
Supervisor Sam?
Yes. Resolution 150-16, a resolution approving public assembly permit for the Phoenician turkey trot. Whereas the Town of Shandaken Town Board, under Section 59 of the Town of Shandaken Code, has the sole authority to approve applications for the purpose of a public assembly in excess of 500 persons. And whereas the Town Board recognizes the benefits of public events in the economy of the town and also recognizes the necessity to provide adequate protections and a safe environment for its residents and participants alike. And whereas the town is in receipt of documentation illustrating compliance under the law, providing the necessary insurance, permits, security, parking, lighting, sanitation, emergency and evacuation requirements. And whereas the town board is satisfied with the application from the Phoenician Turkey Trot for their event to be held in Phoenicia, New York on Saturday, November 26, 2016 from 7 a.m. until 4 p.m. Therefore, be it resolved that the Town of Shandaken Town Board hereby approves the permit for a public assembly to the Phoenician Turkey Trot for their event, and that a certified copy of this resolution shall suffice as the approval certificate, and move its adoption.
I'll second that.
Board Member DeScalani?
Yes.
Board Member Malloy?
Is Rich Mullaloo going to
Board
I'll say
Member
yes anyway.
Storm?
Yes.
And Supervisor Sam?
Yes, I'm running.
Oh!
I'm ready. I'm ready. I took my 5K this March. I'm ready to go on this one.
Thanks for your blessing, Rick. What do you got?
A couple things.
Yes, sir.
What about the curfew for Halloween?
Joyce actually just handed me the thing for curfew. We can do it through a motion. It really is a memorializing resolution, but I could certainly, I would entertain a motion that the town enact a curfew for no persons under the age of 17 being without an adult, being supervised by an adult on the streets of the town of Shandaken after 9 p.m. on Halloween night.
And,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
and
Here's your Halloween curfew.
second of all, the windows here, they have the Shandaken windows as a special right now. Why don't you change all these windows in here?
We just met with a firm this past week, Eric, myself, Joyce, a few of us, to discuss a new town hall, so putting the expense into windows
Yeah,
at this
that's gonna
point,
be years.
really. It could be, but I don't see going
45
forward with the
years
expense at
I've
this
been
point.
talking about this window.
And we had a lot of guys here, a lot, well,
We'll give you a new
guys
building.
and gals, I'm sorry, but
We'll just get you a new building, Rick, that's all.
Yeah, we're gonna get a new building.
Listen, I got something I want to ask too tonight about the railroad tracks on Route 28 down in Mount Trevor. That board sticking up
Yes.
on the road, and I
Yes.
saw a guy on a motorcycle who knows the area that drove up to that and he walked his bike around it. Thank God he knew. But if somebody hits that thing,
yeah, it's,
what's going to happen with that anyway? I
It wasn't
mean,
there tonight.
Well,
still, what's going to
It
happen
goes
with it?
up and down
they
there.
had all out at one point here,
But
2
it's-
years ago, now they put it all back. Remember?
Yeah.
it's not a board, it's a rubber gasket.
Oh.
Well,
Right?
whatever.
I mean, Eric, we have the same thing on Woodland Valley Bridge, right? There's a rubber, a button gasket there.
But I think too, what are we doing with it? What's going to happen with the tracks? I mean, are we? It's obviously if there's no train going to be there, we're going to keep it up.
Oh,
yeah. No, they-
railroad tracks.
The train's back.
It's gonna be a rail car.
Yeah, but I mean, the car thing's going through, but does that work as, do you need a railroad crossing
what
for
I-
the car?
From what I knew from Chris White in county planning, the train is still gonna be operational this fall, and maybe Kathy, you might be able to elaborate on some of these details, but from what I know, they were looking at a contract with a rail bike firm that was going to they were hoping to operate out of the Empire Railway Museum, utilize that rail cross, and then go to Boyceville, at which point they would then shuttle the people back
Right.
to Phoenix.